And we stay in Ekurhuleni, where taxi services have resumed a day after a deadly strike that left commuters stranded. Officials say taxi owners and the subsidized bus services clashed over the lucrative route, prompting the intervention of the provincial government. Newzroom Africa's Zola Sholwana is now monitoring the movements at the taxi rank in Germiston. Zola, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. So just a short while ago, we were speaking to the MEC for Transport and Logistics, and she says that there was an agreement that was reached late last night. To tell us what the situation is currently where you're standing.
Well, Arjun, what I can tell you is that operations are back to normal here in Germiston. And obviously, when we came here around this time yesterday, there was no taxi or commuters were left stranded, some of them saying that they did not receive the message that taxis are going on strike. And obviously, this did not only impact commuters, but obviously people that are running businesses in the taxi rank that solely rely on taxi drivers and commuters to make a living. And I'm joined by one of the commuters. As umdo khwela itaxi izolo bengekho taxi uya affecteka kanjani wena?
Ndina affecteka kakhulu kuba kaloku ndiluzile ke ngemali ngoba ndisebenza wona ama-taxi kwi-business yami. So njena sifika ama-taxi engekho kwanyanzeleka ukuba sibuyele endlini sohlala nje kushona ilanga selihleli nje singekho nto esiyenzayo. So akangibe mnandi kum ilanga la izolo kuba kule ngxube yalama-taxi.
So uve kanjani wena ba itaxi azihamba ubone xa ufika apha erenkini?
Ndibone nandifika apha erenkini kuthi uthi nje kwalapho ndihlala khona ama-taxi wayengekho erenkini senza ngenyawo apha eGermiston. Base ndiza apha bendiye phaya ecaweni mandiphuma apha ndathi ndiza apha ndizokhwela. Mandifika apha khona enye iteksi apho ndafumana ukuthi abantu bamile kwindawo ngendawo iteksi ezisuka eJoburg zibethula le abasuka eBhenoni bazihlisa le njalo njalo abezi erenkini. So bonakala uba kuthiwa ingxaki ikhona apha erenkini babengeza mhlawumbi khona into engenzeka bathi. So ndafika mna ndazozijongela ngokwam apha erenkini ndafumana ngekho wonke amateksi. Ndabona ukuthi hayi ngcono ndibuyele endlini, ayikho into eziyihlalela apha erenkini.
So loo nto ithi khange ukwazi uphangela izolo?
Ndilanga izolo ndibazanga thuthuthu oko ndihleli nami kanga ndibe mnandi kunempilweni yami ngoba ndiluzile ngelanga lezolo.
So namhlanje ke wakwazi uvuka, uve kanjani uba iteksi zibuyele endleleni?
Ngephaya apho amateksi amakhona afike khona ndandingena bona abantu balayisha nami ndazofikelela kuwe ndangena ndazoGermiston ndiyabona nangakhona nangoku.
Alright, ndiyabulela futhi ngexesha lakho. Adrian, I just want to see if you can speak to one of the street vendors who also was affected by the situation of taxis. Siyabonga ngesikhathi sakho. I understand ukuthi ibusiness yakho for ukuthi irane urelaye kulabantu abagibelayo nama taxi drivers izolo affected kanjani indaba ukuthi ama taxi bengasebenzi?
Izolo ngiye ngaluza because bebengekho abasebenzi bami, ama supporters wami, so bekungekho umuntu. So angizange ngivuke ngisebenze.
So wazi kanjani ukuthi ama-taxi ayabuyela namhlanje nabantu bazobe khona erenkini?
Ngive right wena. Khona singasebenza namhlanje.
All right. Siyabonga ngesikhathi sakho. So this is the situation, Adrian, here at Germiston taxi rank. There's a lot of movement. I'm assuming people got the message that taxis are returning on the road, and we'd understand that after the meeting that was held between the MEC of Transport and Gauteng and the relevant structures or taxi associations in Germiston or in the city of Ekurhuleni, they ended the meeting on a deadlock, meaning that there was no resolution as to what will be happening, and the taxi associations at that time were saying that they are not returning on the road until their biggest request, which was the release of their 4 members that were arrested on the day before of the strike. And obviously the MEC then mentioned that she was not in control of that, and those taxi associations should let the law take its course. And Santako then came in later and obviously spoke to Newzroom Afrika, then mentioning that taxis will be back on the road and they will resolve their issues that they have with the government at this point. Adrian, back to you in studio.
Well, Zola, just a quick one. Have you been able to speak to the operators this morning? Because the MEC is saying that she will have a meeting this morning once again with the bus company in question. But what are the operators saying about the dispute that they've lodged?
Well, we haven't gotten an opportunity to engage with, taxi drivers that are in this rank, and I understand that some of them are not in a position to speak to us. We will have to engage with their taxi associations, or perhaps the greater Germiston, because we've been in close contact with since the strike began, and just find out if, how they feel about what was said by Santako, considering the fact that after the meeting, they were uncertain about returning on the road, but obviously after the council spoke, then it meant that they had to follow those orders. But we will get a word from them, and just to find out, how they feel about this, because the biggest challenge, what they complained about really was how their industry is becoming saturated by these buses that they find on the routes, and they're saying that government has to intervene because they are losing quite a lot, considering the fact that the prices of these buses, they also mentioned trains, are ridiculously low, which means that most people will then leave taxis and make their way to those buses, and obviously that means a great loss for them who are, as a business, as they're relying on commuters to operate. After this, we'll also get a word, from taxi associations about the passing of the two taxi drivers that the MEC spoke about yesterday, and just get a reaction about all of that as they spoke. Adrian mentioned, saying that, taxi violence has become a thing that's normalized in South Africa, but, surprisingly, that was not top of the agenda yesterday when they were speaking to the MEC, saying that a lot of these killings are happening and nothing is really being done. So we will come back with an update from the associations later on today.
Thank you so much for your time. That is our reporter there, Zola Sholwana, joining us from the Germiston taxi rank. And this is, of course, following that deadly strike yesterday, where two taxi drivers have been killed. Investigations continuing, and the MEC saying earlier on that unfortunately they cannot accede to the demands that have been made by the taxi associations, that the four that have been arrested, that they must be released.